The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, everyone. This is Paul Perez, District Governor, and I want to welcome you to our district training assemblies. This is on membership. We're doing them on foundation and also public image. And we brought these district training assemblies back because we know while it's important to get the president ready for his or her roles, it's equally as important that our club leaders are able to do their roles. And so we want to have these training assemblies and get you up to speed, and looking forward to sharing information and getting other ideas. Also with me tonight are Carol Weigel, past district governor, and she's also our district trainer. And then we have Ed Merrick, district governor-elect, and he's going to be facilitating. So if you have any questions, everyone will be muted. If you have questions, either raise your hand or you can type a question and Ed will be watching that. Unfortunately, if you're calling in, I don't think there's a way to ask a question, but you could always email or text me. I'm watching as well. And then we have Kenny Closter, our district governor nominee, and also Greg Bartz, who is going to take over at this point and take you through the presentation. So take it away, Greg.
Thank you, Paul, and welcome everyone. This is exciting. We have a great turnout. This is our first webinar, and it's I think we've got 18 attendees, so thank you very much. It tells us a little bit too that we value membership, and we are hopefully excited to talk membership and see how we can help one another grow membership within our district and within Rotary. Let's define Rotary first of all. I'm a Rotarian, a proud Rotarian from White Bear Lake. Thank you all as Rotarians also for being a part of this. You and I make up Rotary. There is no Rotary Club if it's not for you and I. There is no district Rotary if it's not for you and I. There's no Rotary zones, and there's no Rotary International. So keep that in context and just remind yourselves that this is about us. It really is. And what we're looking for is people that share our values and can help us grow our clubs, our district, our zone, and Rotary International. So it's not only about our own club, it's about all of us. And let's keep that in mind as we go through this.
Greg, this is Ed. You may need to turn on your screen.
Okay.
It's up in that go to webinar control panel. There we go.
All right.
Perfect.
Can you see this on the right side, or I need to get rid of that?
That's showing up, yep.
So should I close this box, this control box on the right?
Hit that red arrow up on the left-hand side there. There you go.
All right. Got it. Good. Okay, it looks better, doesn't it? I think. Mine does anyway. Okay, a little clerical thing there, technical difficulties, I guess. Huh, guys? We're just getting started, and this is our, as I said, our first, so there may be a glitch or two, especially on my end here when I'm trying to figure this stuff out. So bear with me, please. Happy to talk about our district and our membership, and we're going to be talking about attracting new members and engaging our existing members. Very important that we consider that too. Last year, we did a strategic plan within our district, and consequently, we came away with a few very important values, I think, that we've identified within our district. And they happen to be fun, service, integrity, leadership, inclusion, and innovation. My hope is that we'll look at these and use this as a guideline as we go back to our clubs and provide leadership within our clubs following this platform. I was a part of this strategic planning initiative last year, and we really talked about, I don't want to say we debated, but we did. We discussed what should be first. Should it be service or should it be fun? And I was very strongly advocating for the fun to be first. We're a service organization that does some wonderful things in our communities around the world. That's who we are. It's what we do. But why not differentiate ourselves by making this as fun as we possibly can? It should be fun, and it is fun for me. It's a big part of my life, and we love Rotary, and let's have fun with it. Secondly, in the strategic planning, our priorities. So as far as membership goes, we are here to attract new members and help your clubs develop your membership. As well, we want to engage our members, as I mentioned, which is vital. We don't want to lose members. We have people that have stepped up and joined our clubs. It's imperative that we engage them and make sure they feel value in being a part of the club, and they'll be more apt to stay. And you can read the rest of them here. To promote the ideas of clubs reflecting diversity in our communities. White Bear Lake is not a, again, we talk about diversity, and I've had some personal, not struggles, but I'm questioning, how do I do that? How do I find diversity in my community? It's a little bit more of a challenge, but it's very important that we look along those lines too. Innovation. This is something that Rotary International has really loosened the reins on and suggested that clubs step out of the box and get creative and do what you need to do to assist your club in developing your membership. And then to promote growth through the creation and expansion of new clubs. That's important also. Communities that are thriving in Rotary are the communities that we should go to for new club expansions. Think about that. It's not a contradiction, it's actually helpful if you go to strong areas of Rotary. Don't go into a community where you're having struggles and try to open a new club. You're better off to promote the creation of new clubs in areas that are thriving. Goals. I'm all about goals. I think it's important to set goals. We set a goal of 3,000 members by 2020. This too is questioned, well, is it the first of 2020 or is it, when is it, Greg? And you know what, it doesn't really matter, but to have a number out there. Our district has been over 3,000 members back in 2011, I think was the last year. It's been a little while, but it also tells me that we've been there. And I really have a hard time believing that we can't get back there. So please, this is something that I would like to see us embrace as a district. 3,000 members by 2020, and we'll give you the entire year next year. So we've got 18 months to get there. And collectively, if we all look at that, break it down, understand we have 63 clubs in our district. We only need a handful in each club of net growth to get to our 3,000 total members. This graph here, I hope you have seen this, and I hope you're going to see this regularly. The plan is to have a visual that goes to all of our members throughout the district monthly that shows where we're at. Unfortunately, we're down again from the first of the month, but that's typical. And our membership today stands at 2713. A month ago we were talking about, I think our number was 2774, something like that. Anyway, I don't want this to be depressing. It needs to be exciting. So we're looking at our number. Here's our benchmark, guys. We're at 2713. Our goal is 3,000 by 2020. I've asked that this be sent to the entire membership within the district. Every single Rotarian sees this. My hope after month, they buy into this, and somebody who happens to be at the Rice Lake or in Rochester or Waseca or anywhere sees this tick up when they bring somebody new into the ranks of our district membership. So please be looking for this, and let's embrace this, please. All right, why isn't this changing? There we go. Okay, who are you trying to attract? Thanks to Jim Hunt, he went through this project, his presidency, and had clubs do this project and kind of look at our values. Who is it we're looking for? And this pretty much tells you that we're looking for anyone. And that's how broad our reach needs to go. Don't discriminate. Don't assume. It has to be a business owner or a high-level manager. If we run across somebody that shares our values, it's upon us to invite them into Rotary. So you ask yourself, well, are we attractive as an organization and as a club? I think it's very important to look in the mirror and ask yourself, are we attractive? Who are we trying to attract? What can we do to be attractive? What does our website look like is one example. So think about that. Just think about your club, and are we attractive to somebody who potentially may come in the door as an introduction to Rotary. Maybe they don't know anything about Rotary and they're walking into your club. Are you attractive to them? Then ask yourself again in this reflection, we're asking ourselves, what are we made up of? Our members, are we diverse? Are we welcoming? This is critical. I've done some presentations to club and I've emphasized this. Think about first impressions. When you walk in anywhere, doesn't matter if it's for the first time, are you welcomed? What is your perception? First impressions are everything. And it's so simple. If we have a greeter at the door, to say hello, a smiling face and a handshake is really all it takes. I have walked into some clubs where, I've walked in and I've stood there intentionally without introducing myself, but I've waited 2 or 3 minutes for somebody to step over and say hello. And that's by design. I want to know if those clubs are stepping forward to welcome anybody into their fold. Barriers for members. This is important. It really is. And when you meet, where you meet, your cost is a big thing. I'm looking at our membership in White Bear Lake and asking myself, is cost a barrier for anyone that might want to join the White Bear Lake Rotary Club? We charge in advance for our breakfast meals, whether or not you buy it or not. And I'm questioning whether or not that's fair. Is it fair that I pay for breakfast when I'm not there? So anyway, these are things that internally your club needs to ask yourself and be very objective. We've been in this for a long time. I've been a Rotarian for 20 years. I'm used to the policies, procedures, the routines, traditions within my club. We've got some wonderful traditions that I don't want to lose, but I ask myself, well, do we always have to do it this way? Or can we change? Should change, might not be a bad thing. Examples here of clubs that are doing some fun things maybe that I would think are fun, and using Austin Rotary as an example here, trivia night. I would be interested in that personally, but think about things that you do with one another, fellow Rotarians, inside your meeting and outside your meeting. It's almost more important to get engaged with your fellow members outside your Rotary meetings. There's structure to your Rotary meeting. You have an opportunity to speak with one another momentarily, and then you're out the door again. So socials are a big deal, I think. And if you have social activities that you can engage with fellow Rotarians, but also use those as an opportunity to invite new people to fun socials. And this is going to come down to a really simple end is, have you invited someone to your Rotary meetings? That's really what this is going to take, is just each and every one of us thinking ahead and thinking about who I might invite to come into my club. Okay, what's our criteria for becoming a Rotarian? Don't make it so difficult. Don't think too much. Just go back to the 4-way test and ask yourself these questions. I use these every day in my life, and it really makes it easy, to be honest with you. When I have a tough question with a client or in my work environment, I put it to the 4-way test all the time. So if you find people that can follow the 4-way test, those are the people we're looking for, regardless of what they do for a vocation. We have to have good character, good reputation, and willingness to serve. Again, very simple. Don't make it too complicated. When you run across someone in your everyday life that says they'd like to help, whatever they might be asking to help with, that's a trigger right there that I pick up on. I try to, and oh, thank you, I appreciate your help. And that tells you something about the character of that person. And that's what we're looking for people that want to help one another. Okay, where do we find future Rotarians? Well, let's think about ourselves. Youth exchange. White Bear Lake has a very rich history with youth exchange. We need to leverage that more than we do, and that's on my horizon, and I'm looking at it as an opportunity to go back to students that have been outbound in the past and their families that have been host families, potential Rotarians, Rotaract clubs. We're familiar with the Rotaract, and obviously we need to connect with Rotaractors. They're us. They're part of Rotary, equal to us. They just happen to be younger, and at some point we need to pull them into our clubs when they're ready to be there. Think about past alumni of your clubs. Where did they go? Why did they leave? Can we go back through our archived notes and reach back out to those individuals? They joined Rotary for a reason once upon a time. Things change in our lives all the time, and maybe for whatever reasons, they're ready to get back. So think about that as an opportunity to find members. RILA, a wonderful program. Again, leveraging alumni from RILA. And then Interact in the schools, in the high schools. Again, another opportunity. Who are the Interactors' parents? Could they be potential Rotarians? So anyway, a lot of opportunities there. Please consider amongst ourselves at different levels. And I always say that an alumni of Rotary is anyone that has participated in a Rotary project anywhere. So I look at Prior Lake, and they had their big music festival here this past weekend, and everybody that attended that event was at a Rotary event. They need to know that, and maybe they're potential Rotarians. So cast a wide net here. Young professionals. Again, I want to make sure we don't lose track of who we are. We're made up of anyone with a willingness to serve. I don't care if you're 20 years old or you're 100 years old. It doesn't really matter. But when you look at this, you got to remember and remind yourself, well, the 100-year-old's probably not going to be around as long as the 20-year-old. So we might want to look at younger people in addition to those that are retired. I had one of my fellow Rotarians one time say, hey, Greg, I think the sweet spot for Rotary is retired people. They have more time on their hands. And my answer to him was, you know what, Jim, I've been a Rotarian for 20 years. And I joined Rotary when I was 34 years old. If I hadn't done that, my life would be totally different today. So don't think that there's an age requirement to be a Rotarian. Anyone who's willing to serve. But now, respecting younger professionals, what I have here is some points on what they're looking for. They want to be involved, but there's also a opportunity for networking that they don't want to lose track of. My club, again, and I'm going to use my club obviously because it's near and dear to me and I know it well. But think about your own club when I mentioned that. Do you have a business philosophy or business atmosphere in your Rotary meeting? For young professionals, they're looking to network. My club has said, we don't want people coming into our club, handing out business cards right out of the chute looking to expand their businesses. We've kind of poo-pooed that and pushed it to the back burner and frown on it, frankly. My attitude now is, we can't do that for young people. Young people are trying to get established in their businesses and they need help. And we can be assistants as mentors to them. So keep that in mind as you're thinking about potential members. Club engagement. Okay, members that are not engaged aren't going to stay. So how do we engage? And this is important. It really is, I think, that if you have a meaningful induction ceremony for new members, show value to them. I've got dozens of stories about examples of Rotarians, potential Rotarians that had to almost arm wrestle to get into a club. It's just, and this is worldwide in Norway. I can tell a lot of stories about people that I know that are now Rotarians at high levels and couldn't get into the club because they weren't qualified. Somebody didn't think they were qualified. So showing value to that new person that joins your club. The new member orientation, critical piece too, so they understand exactly what is out there. There's a whole lot of information, a whole lot of wonderful things that Rotary does, and we need to make sure that we make sure they're aware of that. They're not going to learn it in one meeting, but you need to make sure you have an orientation that's going to help them understand a little bit more what's available there. In our club, we have a president and president-elect meeting. It's a casual breakfast or lunch where twice a year they will have invite new members and in a more intimate setting, sit down and buy lunch and talk with the new members about what their goals and objectives are and what they're looking for to get out of Rotary. We also have a new mentoring program in White Bear Lake that we just started. And we hope to have that template available for any other club that might be interested in it in the future. That will include a passport program in our mentoring program that has a checklist of things that are required of each mentor mentee. Some of it is get together with that person once in the first 3 months for a beer or a beverage of choice in a casual setting, just the two of you to talk about Rotary, and a variety of other things that will help that mentee, the new member, learn about Rotary. Make sure you get that new person joined into a committee or on a team as soon as possible. I should take the committee off here. My apologies, Paul and Kyle. If you're there, we got to get committee off there to a team within your club. And then service projects, obviously get them engaged in service projects right away. Here are a few ideas of service projects. This is the Mounds View New Brighton Club, and a fun project that they've been involved in community-wide, and we talked about this. I had a presentation to them a few weeks ago, and leverage these events. Whenever you have a public event that's fun, look at the happy people in the picture here. This is a great opportunity to meet the parents of these kids, tell them about Rotary, hand them some information about what Rotary's all about, and then invite them to a meeting. White Bear Lake will be having our third blood drive here the end of this month. It's August 21st, 2019. And use this also. We've done this in the past. It's not only our members, but this reach goes to the community. Our location happens to be above Bigwood Brewery, so we do a pint for a pint. Give us a pint of blood and we'll buy you a pint of beer. The taproom tours that Kyle started, another great opportunity. That was a great deal that we were involved in. Getting new people involved, a great introduction to Rotary. At White Bear Lake again, my apologies. I know what we do, and these are our projects. Barely Open Golf on Ice. You can see that this is a fun event on the ice. We sell tickets to the community. All the gals in the car here are not Rotarians. I think one of them might be, but potential Rotarians right there. Leverage these events when people are having a good time. Invite them to your Rotary meetings. Prior Lake again. What a wonderful event that they put on. It not only raises a lot of money, but it's great exposure. And again, I haven't been to this, so my apologies, but I hope they do a good job of getting information out. It's got the logo, Rotary logo wheel in their logo, so it's obvious that it's there. Follow up with people that you guys saw at that event and invite them to your next Rotary meeting. Hey, a quick thank you. Thanks for being at our music fest. Come on out. We'd love to have you come to our Rotary meeting next week. And lastly, White Bear Lake, our biggest event. And again, the music deal, that's a huge deal. I'm looking at that, trying to understand how do we do that? That's not that easy to do. I'm sure of that, right, Paul? It's very challenging, and it's so not everybody's going to do that. I guess that's my point, is don't feel like you have to have an event that's going to draw 10 or 20,000 people. Look to your community. You know what works, the size of your club, what you can pull off size-wise, and do what you can. And White Bear Lake, we have our Taste of White Bear Lake event. This will be our 8th annual in September. We sell this out every year, and we've sold as many as 700 tickets. Those are going to a lot of non-Rotarians again. We've had information set up. We have our White Bear Rotary shirts on. We're handing out come join us for breakfast cards. We can still do a better job when we need to, but this is another great opportunity for us to leverage this event for exposure, good exposure in the entire community. Okay. For me, you make it personal. Okay, when you're thinking about inviting somebody to Rotary, I have a great Rotary story. It's easy for me to use my story. We talk about the elevator speech and what is that? For me, it's Rotary changed my life. It's a big part of who I am today. And I just kind of stop at that. Rotary has changed my life. It's a big part of who I am today. And then the person's looking at me going, okay, well, I want to hear more. And then I just tell stories about experience I've had with foreign exchange students. This is Sandy and I in Norway here last month, en route to the Rotary International Convention. stopping off in Norway to see Bitta, who was our foreign exchange student 2 years ago. And then from there, we went on to the Netherlands, and we met with Martin Pissinger and his wife and their 2-year-old son, who was a foreign exchange student in the year 2000 to 2001 in White Bear Lake. And he's from the Czech Republic and happens to work as a diplomat in The Hague for the Czech government. I spent a couple nights with them. And then when we got to Hamburg, Tooms Melmeisters was the student who was here in, I want to say 2005. And he came over from Riga, Latvia to see us for a couple days. This has changed my life. It's given me opportunities all over the world to travel and see people and re-engage and connect with young people and fellow Rotarians. So anyway, this is my Rotary story. So as you're thinking about how do I invite them, think about what you're passionate about within Rotary and come up with something simple that, hey, it's changed my life. Let me tell you about it. Resources. Okay, this has always made it complicated for me personally. It really has, because there are so many wonderful resources out there that we can use, and it gets to be too cumbersome. So the Rotary health check is a good one. It really is. So the RI website's got dozens and dozens of resources. Sifting through them can get kind of complicated. The next slide after this one I'll show you has got some examples. But anyway, this piece is 10 tips to attract and retain quality members. This is from Tom Gump, who's governor-elect in 5950 Edina Morning Club, and he put this together. These are the headlines. There's another document that has detail under each of these. But knowing your club's strengths. Again, this is back to the look in the mirror. Who are we? What do we do well? What don't we do well? I'm about putting together, organizing this. So in your efforts to grow your club, you need to put together a plan, write a plan, and on your plan, it should be a list of potential Rotarians in your club. Your club has to buy into making this a priority. You need someone in your club to champion this. But get more than one person. My hope is that the club will embrace it. But if you have a handful of people, a committee within your club for membership, it will make the job a whole lot easier. But just get organized, get a list, and let's create a plan. Create a letter that talks about the good things. I know that Mount New Brighton has a really nice trifold piece that they gave to me that tells about things they do in their club. Responsibilities. So this is to the new member again. Get them engaged in what's going on. What do you expect them to do? Let them know right away. When it comes back to attracting new members, you got to be persistent. It's kind of the sales thing. Well, it's going to take more than one touch. Plant seeds when you come across that person that says, hey, can I help? You want to help if it's your neighbor, help with whatever. That's the first hint, okay? Plant some seeds. Go back to those individuals that you've had interactions with that have alluded to the fact that they'd like to help doing something. And then talk about us. You know, we do some wonderful things, and that's part of our problem is we're service above self. And frankly, we're a little bit too much service above self. And I say that sarcastically, obviously. But we're humble. We are. We're not braggarts. We're not out there. So to talk about Rotary, it's kind of like not even in our DNA because we are not braggarts. But we need to. We need to tell about the good things, wonderful things that Rotary does, that we do as Rotarians. And that's good. That's okay to do that. And back to the celebrate when we get a new member in our clubs, that's the induction ceremony. Make it a big deal. Show them you care. Show them you're happy that they're there. And then this is continuous. It is. You know, there's no finish line. You got to continue to prospect all the time, as well as making sure all of your members are engaged. So looking at your club rosters, if you have some people that may be on the periphery and aren't engaged all the time is now to reach out to them and make sure they come to that next social. And it's not an email sometimes, it's a call or it's a card, it's a handwritten card that says, you know what, we're having this event, White Bear Lake, we have a pontoon boat social. This is helping me, this is really helping me. I'm taking notes for myself here, okay? we have a pontoon social coming up here next month, and I'm thinking along what I'm just telling you guys is, okay, go back to our list in our club and find those people. We've got 87 members. There are a handful that I know that aren't engaged enough. And at some point in time, they won't see value in Rotary and they'll walk away from it. Okay, I'm going to put this on my own shoulders here, is to write a little note or call them on the phone and say, hey, you know what, we're having this on this date. Please join us. We'd love to have you there. We'd like to see you. And then be vibrant. Vibrant's kind of, I don't want to call it generic, but what is vibrant? I think that's up to the club. You know, each club has its own personality, and it should. There's big clubs, small clubs. We're made up of different people. So to be vibrant in one club might look different than another. So think about that too, and think about the personality in your club and how can we make our club more vibrant or fun. Okay, here are the tools I was talking about. Now, if you go to any one of these links, it will take you to the RL website. Underneath any of these categories, and these are all related to membership, there will be a lot. Okay, there's probably 100 different surveys or whatever they are, ideas that you can look at. You need to sift through those. You're going to look at this and you're going to go, oh, geez, there's just so much there. I don't have the time for this. And don't let that happen. So look at these categories and, okay, we want to engage new current members. Go to that and there's going to be a whole litany of ideas for you to use. Keep it simple. Again, it's important that you do that. If we don't, you get overwhelmed. We're busy people. We just are. And Rotary is a big part. And I'm assuming the people that are on the call here today value this, and it's important to you, and this is great. But the Rotarians that aren't on the call are the ones that we're trying to reach. So I'm asking that each club create a plan. But your plan has to be simple, or it'll be, if it's too cumbersome, there won't be buy-in, and we got to have buy-in. So set some goals, as we've done in the district, 3,000 members by 2020, and then make a list. Make a list of potential Rotarians in your club. I truly believe that we're out there, that Rotarians are amongst us each and every day, and it's up to us to find them. So you never miss an opportunity to make the ask. And if we each do this, we'll get there. I think we can all net gain. Don't lose anybody, engage our members, and let's each think about who we can ask that shares our values. And with that, folks, that's what I have. We're scheduled to go till 6 o'clock. We wanted to have some time, and I'm actually pretty impressed that it's only 35 minutes into this thing, and I'm kind of done talking. So can we open this up to questions and have an open dialogue here for the last 20 minutes or so?
Yeah, Greg, this is Ed, and one thing Sean Barry wanted to mention is that there's a lot of good information on our district website. There's a resource toolkit there in the membership resources folder. So there's a lot of things that I think will help to jumpstart folks on this in this area. And one Rotary Summits this year. This is from Newell Krogman. One Rotary Summits this year will help clubs understand how to grow membership, enhance their public image, and do humanitarian service through the Rotary Foundation. All three areas are related and work in synergy. One Rotary Summit will help clubs with membership, and I know Kenny's got those scheduled coming up here in September and October.
Yes. Okay. Very good. Thank you both, Sean and Newell. Yeah, as far as resources go, you're right. There are resources all over the place. Again, that's my concern with that is please look at them, sift through and pick out the things that, and try to tackle one or two things at a time before you go on, and don't overwhelm your clubs. Newell, yes, open Rotary Summits, or one Rotary Summits rather, are very, very helpful. They are. You're going to get in front of people and your counterparts at other clubs. You're going to talk about things that they're doing. Again, in a webinar like this, I didn't want to get into the nuts and bolts and the specifics of things that can be done to assist your clubs. Some of the presentations I've had have been with clubs that expect me to come in and tell them how to fix it. What do we do? What do we do, Greg? And I can't tell you in 20 minutes what to do. But the One Rotary Summits can. They can give you all sorts of ideas to go back to your club and, again, go through a vetting process or a filtration process and pull out the best ideas that you think fit your club well, and take those ideas back to your team, your membership team, or your club, and in hopes that they embrace the ideas that you're bringing back. And the more people we can get to the One Rotary Summits, the better off we are. So please think about that. And if you can get at least one other person from your club, or a team of 3 or 4, that would be great. As another resource from the district, we have been giving presentations. This is actually just a little bit of an expanded version of the presentation that we've been doing at clubs. We have a district membership team made up of about 4 or 5 of us, 6 of us now, with Mike Becker's offered to step in too and help. We're happy to come to your clubs and talk to your clubs at your meetings. Now, what really needs to happen is to have a small group session after that to customize, help you develop a plan for your club. We're happy to come in and do that and spend an evening and spend a couple hours and talking with the core group of your leadership within your club and help you develop a plan to grow your membership. So thank you much. Very good questions.
Yeah, this is Ed again, and anyone who has a question, if you want to click the raise your hand there on your control panel, the dashboard, I'll unmute you and let you go to it. I'm trying to unmute Patricia Wimmer, and it's telling me that you are self-muted. So Patricia, if you go over and click on your microphone, you should be able to unmute yourself and take it away. Does not seem to be. There we go. Pat, Patricia?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, hi, thank you. I'm not sure what was wrong, but appreciate your help. I would like to comment on pre-charging people for your morning breakfast at your meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering what do you charge?
I think it's $9 a week. It's part of our quarterly dues, and it's been the case. I've been a Rotarian in the club for 20 years, and that's been the standard. And again, we've got 87 members, and there are a few that are looking at, well, that's what we do, Greg. That's how we charge. We got to charge something. I'm thinking, well, and I've said this to other members, we have a coffee only, which is cheaper, and as an option. But there have been members in my club that kind of put up a roadblock. This is, wait a minute here, we can't give everybody coffee only, or we'll have a problem with our commitment to meals, which we do. We have, but my point being, if my club, if everybody wants to drink coffee, so be it. We'll find a different location. This isn't about the breakfast or the coffee. It's about making this organization and my club affordable. So I have some issues here that I intend to take to our new incoming president. He and I have had this discussion. Are we affordable?
Right. My comment on that was, I typically don't. I'm a part of the riser group. We meet from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Tuesdays. And I'm one that typically doesn't have the breakfast. I think it's like $14, $15. And, enough people seem to be having it that things are working out where we meet. But personally, I travel a lot. And I'm away a lot. And I go to meetings when I travel. So when I travel, I generally have a meal that I'm paying for. So it'd be almost like double paying. And also, you know, I'm not working right now, and I one of my goals is to donate more to the foundation. And so I'm kind of saving money to give to the foundation. No, I mean, I pay my dues and I'm generous and all this kind of stuff. But so I just think it's really worthy to review that policy of having people. And there's some of us that just don't want to eat breakfast either, you know. And
Sure.
and if it's the only way you can keep the club going, yes, you make that donation. But I think it would be helpful for someone like me, because I might not join your club because it's like, well, wow, that's going to cost me $10 a week on top of everything else. Yeah. So that would be for a person like me, that would be a deterrent. So I think it's worthy of revisiting that.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Pat. And that's what we intend to do, but that's very valuable. But you just said you might not join my club because we charge you ahead of time for breakfast, whether or not you're there. That is huge. And that's information I'm taking back to the leadership within my own club and say, listen, guys, this is not fair. And we need to reevaluate the way we charge people. We need to make this affordable. Again, I want anybody that shares our values should be a Rotarian. And it's not about eating a meal. Now, I've got a lot of stories to tell you that Santa Monica, California charges $35 a day or a week for meals pre-charged. And you get like if you go make up somewhere else, you get like a 10% credit if you prove that you went somewhere else for a meeting along the way. There are a lot of, that's old school Rotary. And there are a lot of clubs elsewhere around the world that charge an exorbitant amount, which is never going to allow a young person, in my mind, unless, you know, we want to make sure that we're affordable. There's no reason that we can't be affordable to anyone. That's my attitude towards that. So I appreciate that, Pat, and I'm going to use that.
Okay.
Pat wouldn't join the Rotary Club in White Bear Lake because she had to prepay.
Yeah.
That's good.
And also there's a lot of charities out there we probably all support. So you know, you kind of want to spread your dollars out. So thank you very much, Greg.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, Pat. Greg, and I'm going to mute Pat here, and we're going to move on to Maria. Karim, is it Maria?
That would be me.
Okay, you're on, Maria. Go ahead. And I think she just muted herself.
How about now?
Yeah, you're fine now.
I was just wondering, I'm relatively new to Rotary, but I am working with a group of very fine gentlemen and women in trying to increase the membership in our club. However, it seems to me that the new model of just charging for food may be bringing the club's deficit to a halt. So how do you balance, you know, the budget and the new member and in trying to bring in new members when you know that they may not want to pay, but yet you still need the money for everything else that you're trying to do?
Good question, Maria, and thank you for being a new member to Rotary. It's again, this is kind of a sidebar, and maybe to look at your club and understand exactly what your goals and objectives are and what your overhead is. Now, at White Bear Lake, I was president of my club 2014 to 15, and when I my first board meeting, I was handed a bill from our executive secretary to the district, which should have been paid before the 1st of July 1, and she forgot to send it off. And she called me the night before the meeting, board meeting, and she said, "Hey, Greg, we've got a check that I need to write to the district for," it was like $4,000, and we don't have enough money in the checkbook. Okay, this is my first board meeting as a new president of my club, and that was a problem, a big problem. What am I stepping into here? So I do business consulting work, and I did a total analysis of our cash flow, understood what our overhead was, looked at our revenue, and realized that our club had been in decline for quite some time. You know, we were losing a member or two each year for the past 3 or 4 years, and we were in decline, and we had gotten to a point where we were underwater and just didn't realize that we were bleeding along the way. And consequently, all of a sudden, we didn't have enough money to pay a bill that needed to be paid. That really put me on a mission to grow our membership within the White Bear Lake Club, and we did. We had to, because we've got overhead with an executive secretary's salary and our commitment for meals and that kind of thing. That so your question being, okay, if we don't charge for the meals, how do we stay afloat? This is exactly what happened, and I figured so I did an analysis and realized that our break-even number, I want to say our membership was like at 68 or 67 members maybe. And when I understood what our break-even number was, we had to have our membership at 73, I think. So knowing that, we either increase our membership and keep our fee structure as it is, or we increase our fee structure. And I was not about to do that until we did everything we could to increase our membership, and consequently we did. And by the end of my year, we had a net gain of 12, I think. And consequently, that's kind of how I got recruited to be the district membership chair too here, Maria. So here I am talking with you tonight, which I'm happy to be here. But anyway, we need to know exactly what your break-even number is and what do you need in revenue from meals to sustain the club. Yes, very important. And that's just getting a calculator out and sitting down and really looking at your club specifically and understanding how can we help and what does your membership have to be at to cash flow yourselves. And that's something that we'd be happy to help you with too at some point.
Thank you. I guess the other question is, if it seems like that our club would have to, we would love to have new members that are, able to come and help out and enjoy the networking. However, it seems like it may not be conducive to some of the younger people. So we could still try to approach those younger people and then send them to Rotaract, but that would not help our numbers at the club. Do you have that anywhere else, or?
Yes.
And I'm done now.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Maria. Another good question. Yeah, we all need to be advocating for Rotary, period. I don't care if someone joins my club or your club or any club, or which club I should say. I do care if they join a club. I want them to join a club. But this is about us talking about what Rotary does. We're looking for people of action, people that want to give back, people of service, and we need to engage them helping one another. And I'll probably get in trouble for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. You know what? Sometimes Rotary isn't for everyone, but if somebody's looking for an opportunity to serve, maybe there's another service organization out there that they could join. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I really am. I honestly feel that Rotary's the best, and I'm in it hook, line, and sinker here, and I'll never deviate from that. But maybe it's not for everyone, and maybe the Lions or Kiwanis or some other organization. We need people helping people in the world today. That's what we need here. And I've found Rotary to be highly ethical people. I trust Rotarians. Rotarians are my friends. Not that I don't have other friends, but I spend a lot of time with my Rotary friends, and we share the same values. And to me, that's so important. So back to your question regarding younger people and how do you get them? They can't make a noon meeting. Satellite clubs. Maybe you have a social. Get creative. White Bear Lake meets at 7 o'clock in the morning every week. I'm thinking maybe White Bear Lake needs a satellite club that meets at a different time and take Rotary to them. I was at a zone meeting this past weekend, or a week and a half ago now, in Kansas City, and Brian King, who's the director of membership for Rotary, we need to take Rotary to them. Don't make them come to us. So think about that. And if your meeting isn't at a time where younger people can get there, then maybe once a month or twice a month you deviate from your plan and you have a different social. You have a happy hour somewhere. Shake it up a little bit. Try something new. See what happens. Maybe you get more people involved. And you're right. You don't want to push people away from you. But if we talk positively about Rotary everywhere we go, people will find us if we take it to them and make it easy and affordable.
Okay, anybody else with any last minute questions here for Greg? Otherwise, we may throw it over to Paul. Paul, I think you are self-muted.
Okay, thank you. I was waiting for the cue there, Ed.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for your questions. If you have other questions after this, certainly send it to Greg or myself or Ed or Carol, any of us, and we'll be happy to respond. Also, thank you very much, Greg, for excellent presentation. A lot of information in there, and love your passion. And you're right. It's all of our jobs to be recruiters, and membership is everyone's concern. Thank you, Ed, also for your facilitating. I did want to comment. Greg had asked about our Lakefront Music Fest. We do promote Rotary there, and we had actually Kyle Haugen, past district governor. He put together a little script that was read on stage several times during the two nights, just talking, and it was talking about Prior Lake Rotary, but we had people from all over. So it was just a general statement about all the good we do, and if you want to be part of the people of action, or if you're a person of action and you want to join, to check out Rotary or check out Rotaract. And we talked about, the 18 to 35 year olds, if they want to join people the same age as them. And then we also discussed polio, obviously, and collect tips throughout the 2 days, and we do very well with that, and people are very generous, and a lot of people don't know that polio still exists in different places in the world. So it was good. It's a very good event, and yes, as Greg said, with their Taste of White Bear, we can do more as well for our event to share Rotary with the masses. The last thing is we've talked amongst ourselves about doing additional webinars. So if there's something specific that maybe you'd like to cover in a webinar, and that'll be done throughout the year, just let us know. And like I said, we'd like to do some other ones. And hopefully you like this format on the webinar, and it seems to have worked very well for us. So, and it's an easy way for us to get out to you. It's like Greg said, take Rotary to everyone else, where you are. So don't have to travel, and hopefully this worked well. I think that's it, unless you have anything, Ed.
Not at this point. Anybody else out there have any other questions we can quickly answer? Otherwise, we going once, going twice.
Can I just say thanks again. I do appreciate everybody who got on today. This is great, and to have that many people listening, take your time. It tells us a lot. It does. It tells you that it matters. Now, Paul, I'm going to say, you said our concern for membership. Okay, we need to change our attitude towards that. Okay, it's not a concern. We're excited about membership. Okay, so I'm going to tease you a little bit here, Paul, but it's all in your attitude, I think, for all of us. That if we look at membership with woe is me, we're in decline, oh geez, what does that tell new people that maybe just came into the room for the first time and are excited about, hey, I just joined this new organization called Rotary. And if our attitude is doom and gloom, it's not, they're going to question why they're there. And I heard this from Brian King. He says, be sure you know your audience. And I think yes, our numbers haven't been going in the right direction. We get that part of this. But you know what? We have too many great things to not share. And membership's not a dirty word. It's a great word. It's like, that's who we are. Back to what I said initially. Rotary is us. And it's people that have our same values and that are ethical people and want to help one another. And I think if we just continuously remind ourselves that membership is us, it's me. And it gives us a better attitude, so we're not concerned about ourselves. We're excited about ourselves. So anyway, Paul, just teasing you a little bit on your concern for membership here. And thanks, Paul. I'm just kidding you a little bit here. But anyway, that's my closing remarks, folks. Just thanks so much. I appreciate everyone being on tonight. Thanks.
And Newell would like to say something here. Newell, go ahead.
That was a mistake. I don't want to talk.
Oh, you got your hand up.
I touched the wrong button.
Okay, well, thanks for chiming in, Newell.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I think at this point, then, we will bid everybody good night. Thanks for being here. And there are other webinars coming up on the foundation and on public image. So let your colleagues know in your clubs that are responsible for those areas to sign up and learn more about those as well. Paul, you have anything else?
No, I just wanted to thank Greg for correcting me, and I'm a work in progress. And also thank you, Ed, again for facilitating, and for everyone for attending.
Thanks much.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody. I'm signing off.
Bye now.